a team of reporters. I was told that there was a general, a former head of state of Nigeria, who had said that in my generation, we did not have anyone. And just the same way you guys are doing something that is defying the imagination of the world, the next few years, the world will be looking at Nigeria and gasping for breath. But you must understand that my hope is not based on hope alone. Yes. My hope is based on this. And can come to pass. Will come to pass. You guys are the substance of what we are hoping for as a nation. I need you to understand that. I'm not trying to put too much weight on you. I'm just helping you to understand that you are the evidence of the future that we've been believing. That people thought that was impossible. So if you don't mind, can you please help me just touch the person beside you and tell them you are the Nigeria of the future today. Tell them because of you. The future is now. The future has arrived. We have been waiting for it for so long, but you are here to deliver the future. Now celebrate that person. Thank you so much. Thank you. Please, Your Excellencies, please be seated. It is my joy to be amongst you. I'm so honored to be here. I wish I could meet everyone. I'm not sure whether they're giving us the time to do that. But are you going to be able to introduce yourselves? Yes. Fantastic. That I would love to know. Okay.
Yes, sir. My name is Fela Durotoye, all the way from the only state in Nigeria that makes Nigeria. That's the 18th state.
Oh, wow. Your Excellency, thank you so much.
Good. My name is Prince Hussein,
Your Excellency. Your Excellency. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
My name is Fela Durotoye from the Center of Commerce and the of
Wow. Your Excellency.
You're welcome, sir. I'm Jean Dike, Liberal Governor representing River State.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Peace and tourism.
God bless you. Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
Welcome the father of modern Kia. Magaji from the land of Equity, the island of Nigeria, and the home of United Nations Sanctified and Congo International Fishing and
Thank you. Yes.
From the agrarian states, I'm a comrade. First they bring me up. My name is Comrade Nuri Isab. So the representative.
Excellency, thank you so much. Thank you, Awa. Your Excellency.
One of Jameson, and Jiva Features participated in one of the contests, campus contests or campus speaker of the year. And it was a wonderful. The Liberal governors were deep.
so much.
It's so good to have you.
It's good to be with you.
I'm this one. The Liberal governor represents the great and wonderful of people of our tribal state.
So you have been an inspiration. Yes. You can be the problem or part of the solution. Absolutely. I am Unyekwe and I am part of the solution. Yes. Thank you for being part of the solution. Because of you and so many other some very unique Nigerians that have inspired me to begin a movement, a community of young people who have taken the decision not to be the problem, but to be part of the solution and deliberately prepare themselves for leadership. It might take us 5 years, it might take us 10 years. But when we are ready, of course, Nigeria will be better than what we ever imagined. For anyone join is on www.iam.com.
His Excellency must sell his states and what they're doing.
Yes, so this is a national project. It's accessible through www.iampos.com. My name is Onyekwe Godwin.
And I believe POTS means part of the solution.
You got it, sir. You got it, sir. Part of the solution. So feel free to say I am POTS anytime, any day.
Fantastic.
By just calling me I am POTS, you've already declared that you are part of the solution.
I am POTS.
I'm the Liberal governor of Imo State.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you.
It feels great to have you in our midst. We're all waiting for you to ignite, to light up that flame. All right, the name is Joshua Mbana Samson from the Power State. Nigeria.
Your Excellency, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
The Magnetous Movement. Wow. My name is Oshie, representing the
Women in one.
Yes.
I have already marked out in that one. I mean, Delta produces women of steel and timber. As with all other states. Thank you.
Thank you for lighting up the atmosphere. I'm Mohammed Sule from Kogi State, the Conference of Opportunities, home of the first administrative capital of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, where the name Nigeria was coined by Florence Shaw. The Conference of Opportunities. I'm Mohammed from Kogi State.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Your Excellency.
I believe this is like the day that the Lord has made for me. Actually, yes. Because, many years back, the CEO of Rise Networks, Ms. Fela Durotoye, she almost brought it to me where I was schooling, and we missed you by like this, and then you got shoes from somebody who doesn't have legs but make shoes in my shape. That's the mistake. And I missed that one too like this. Wow. And then here I am today, and I just said, let me touch your shoes. Yes, so I too also, tread fast like this. And for me, I'm literally floored. And I'm the crazy one in the house. So I told my girls this morning when we were partnering up that you've come, but please, we also need to be, a quintessential woman. So please help us go tell your sweetheart that we're expecting her.
Okay.
Not we're expecting the whole package inside and out.
Okay.
Yes. It's been nice she's keeping us up, Yeah. By the way, by God's grace, I'm her Royal Highness Princess. The parents who are tasting vaccine represent the food basket nation.
To make sure that my treasure, my heartbeat, to make it here, not just to be with the ladies, but to also to share with you. So I would, and I would make sure that, Excellency, thank you so much.
From the country within the country, from the center of excellence, I want to put the badge. Never go for the State. My name is Ali Kwade Yusuf.
All right. Your Excellency, thank you so much for hosting me in your state. I always tell people when they ask me, where are you from? And I say to people, I said, well, my father is from Ekiti State, my mother is from Lagos State, but I'm from Nigeria. And this is very important to me. Because, and it's not in any way to deny any state. No, I don't deny. I embrace every state. And I'm praying that one day we will all be able to say that we do come from the United Nation of Nigeria. We may be the Federal Republic of Nigeria now. But one day, who said? Or the United Kingdom of Nigeria. So that's a fantastic thing. Thank you so much.
So you're welcome. From the land of beauty, filled with blood and honor. Please like that. Right.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, thank you so much.
You're very welcome, sir.
Glad to be here.
Like I love you, Mustafa Abai. So I kept in your Mustafa. Yoga now. From Nasarawa State, home of solid miracles.
Thank you very much. Can I say something before you move on? Not long from now, at least for a generation for sure, every child in Nigeria, by God's grace, should be able to speak Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo. So that when they speak and communicate, there would be no point at which they didn't even understand each other. Because many times brotherhood is defined by language.
Yeah.
And the moment I speak your language, I accept you as my brother or my sister. And so imagine if every Nigerian child, and hopefully every Nigerian, not just child, can speak all three major languages. Then you can only imagine what it will do in terms of unity for this nation. And it's not hard. Children are wired to be able to learn, especially before the age of 9, up to 12 languages without even knowing. So there are studies that have shown that children can be spoken to by 12 different people in 12 languages, and they will respond to each one of them in the language that speaks to them without knowing. Not that they were told that this language is Yoruba, this language is Igbo. One person just speaks to the child, and the child has the capacity to be able to encode and decode that language. So it's not a big deal. Our children have the capacity. Nigerians are the brightest people on the face of the earth. And so we can teach it. We just have to want to do it, and we can do it. How many people agree with that? I think that it's... So I'm hoping that one day, and not long from now, for me, no one will have to translate to me what is spoken in Hausa or in Igbo. I would speak fluently, I would mix without even thinking about it, you know. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you.
From the pride of the Sahel, my name is Haruna Babele, Lebanon Governor for your mistake.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Haruna.
My name is Olubenga John Johnson.
Yes.
I usually don't say this, but I know that I am the diaspora perspective in this house for the Labor Room, representing Sunshine State.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
From the Pearl of Tourism, Bauchi State, I'm John from the later district.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Virtue must drop here. That moment when you dress like Fela.
Naso.
Pocket is red. Pocket is red. You know, some may be narrow. Some may be shallow. But yeah.
Thank you.
I am Jim Alda, is Jonathan, Lebanon Governor for Burundi.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you. It's great to be here. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Welcome, start to the Transformation Mansion.
Oh.
I
nation.
Wow.
The state with the taste of the nation.
Yeah.
So it permits me to tell you the person standing on your list. Excellence in his change. Thank you. The current governor.
God bless you. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome to our humble mansion.
Yes.
First of all, sir, I've been a source of inspiration and encouragement to me. Thank you, sir. From the Center of Learning, my name is Sharon Delili Stefanus. Representing the good people of Kaduna.
Your Excellency, thank you so much.
From God's own state, my name is also John Schultz, and I'm the neighborhood governor of Kaduna State.
Thank you. Your Excellency.
My name is Nafi Bello Sokoche, MDCEOST Designs. And I'm the neighboring governor representing Sokoto State, seat of the Caliphate. The most peaceful state in Nigeria, part of the northern Nigeria.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Mr. Chairman, thank you so much, sir. Someone called you the mentor of mentors. For so many years, Tayo Israel has been my mentor. Tayo Israel, he rose the forward to my people.
Oh, fantastic.
And you are his mentor. He has always referred
He's a great man.
Yes, he's a great young man. He has been my mentor for so many years, and you are his mentor. So I can imagine. Your grand mentor. So you are the grand. So you are my grand.
Thank you so much.
I follow him, everything he's fast. I am patterning my life after him.
Amen. Thank you very much.
My name is Chinedu Namba, the Lebanon governor representing Anambra State.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, thank you so much. Once again, I don't know how to ask of this, but if you would please, I want you to please salute each and every one of you with the loudest ovation that you can. The word appreciate has two meanings in English. One is to express gratitude. You know, gratitude is a state of the heart, but appreciation is an act from the heart. So you can feel gratitude, but you can't say, I felt appreciation. No, you always show appreciation. But then the other meaning of the word appreciate is to grow in value. So you say, well, you know, the land has appreciated, my stock have appreciated, you know, whatever. That word appreciate actually has a link between both meanings. It means that whatever you express gratitude for is going to grow in value in your life. You understand what I'm saying? And so there is a team behind the scenes. And those guys have been able to do what I think is absolutely the impossible. And I believe that team is led by Balami Isaac David. And there are so many people who have literally laid their lives down for you guys to be here. They've sacrificed everything. But that's not why we're appreciating them the most. Is their capacity to turn dream into reality. And when we appreciate them, the more we appreciate them, the more your own appreciation account is credited. Meaning when other people want to appreciate you, they would have the capacity to do so. You understand what I'm saying? So it's usually in your own best interest to appreciate others. Because every time you appreciate others, you credit your appreciation account. Have you noticed that it's possible for two people to do the same thing and one is more appreciated more than the other? Yes. Because the one that is appreciated more had a greater balance. So that when it was time to appreciate that person, the account could fund it. But the one that had not been appreciating others had very little. So when they wanted to give a standing ovation, the debit was not enough to fund it. And then when they decided, okay, no, I can't do standing ovation. Let me at least give him high five. But there was not enough balance to fund it. Then they decided to give thumbs up. Not enough. So they said, okay, well done. At least enough was there for only well done. Whereas the other one, there was enough for standing ovation. They both did the same thing. So every time you appreciate others, you actually are crediting your own appreciation account. Does that make sense? Yes. So I want us to appreciate Balami Isaac David. Let's show the world out there how Nigerians appreciate ourselves. Come on, guys. Come on. Let's do one last time. All right. Okay. So please be seated. Let me see if I can share a few thoughts with you and then take a few of your questions. Is that all right? Yeah. So please sit down and let me say, is it okay for me to stand and roll? Okay. All right. Let me start by saying that, you know, when I came in, I said, indeed, the future is here and the future is now. And most times when people say that, they kind of like think of a tomorrow that has not yet arrived. Most times people think when we talk about the future, we're talking about a time zone that is not yet here. But that is not for me what the future is. The future is not a time zone that is yet to come. The future is not a date on a calendar that is yet to be revealed. You guys know my heart, you know my vision, most of you. You know that I'm driven by a desire to not only see but to build with nation builders a nation called Nigeria that will be the most desirable nation to live in by the 31st of December 2025. And that's really just 8 years and maybe about 3 months from now. All right? But we have the capacity to do so. I don't think anybody doubts the fact that Nigeria is one of the most blessed people, and if anybody doubted that, all they needed to do was just tune in into the labor room. And once they listen to you guys, every doubt in their heart as to how blessed Nigeria is will fly. But the fact still is that I believe that the future of Nigeria is everything that we as a people can be but have not yet become. I believe that the future of Nigeria is everything we can do together but have not yet done. I believe that everything that we have as the future of Nigeria is what we can possess, but we just haven't yet taken hold of it. So you notice, therefore, that if you think about the future from this perspective, the future is not ahead of us. The future is inside of us. That's why I say to people, you have to deliver the future. And where better can you deliver the future other than the labor room? So in being here today, I need you to understand that, and I wish each and every one of you the greatest success on this journey, on this pathway. But I believe that the reason why you are here today is because you are here to midwife the delivery of the future of a new nation. We're talking about a new nation that looks nothing like the one that we currently live in today. We're talking about a nation where people love to live, a nation where people love to work, a nation where people would love to visit and even play, a nation that naturally attracts the investment of not just those who come from foreign lands, but those who are in foreign lands that are nationalities. So diaspora must want to invest in Nigeria. But that is going to happen when the people of Nigeria begin to believe in Nigeria again and begin to take a chance on Nigeria. And that is what is going to get Nigeria to be exciting. I believe that Nigeria is a nation where each and everyone has the capacity to prosper. It's in our nature to do so. It's in our nature. And Nigerians must have the ability to enjoy good success. Not just, you know, go through the stress, sometimes turning what you would think of as power, for instance, into a prayer point. And you begin to say, God, please, I pray that there is light when I get home. There are certain things that are not prayer points anymore. They have come from the realm of mystery to the realm of information. And now people should know how to make these things happen. But I believe that it is because we have a challenge that has, for many years, beleaguered not just Africa, but particularly also Nigeria. I'm sure if I were to ask you what the one word that you think Nigeria's problem or Africa's problem would be, who would go first? What do you think it would be? Leadership. Everybody counts. I mean, everybody believes it's leadership, right? And so the question is, when you think about leadership, what comes to your mind? Is it a title? Is it power? Is it authority? And we're going to be, talking a bit about leadership, because I believe that if there were two things we need to fix in Nigeria over the next few years that will bring Nigeria into a state of accelerated development, it will be the ability to infuse in Nigeria the spirit of leadership, so that people understand what you call the dignity of service. And then they must understand the beauty of excellence. So if you fix leadership and a heart of excellence, oh my God, then Nigerians are done. We will have amazing, amazing capacity to do the great things that we already know that we have the ability to do. But I thought that we'll make this a little bit of fun. So if you don't mind, I would like us to hub and do a little exercise. Okay, just a little exercise. You're already here. So let's take this as a hub. Let's take this as a hub. Let's take this as a hub. Where do I take this? Let's do 3-3. Is that okay? Can you try to hub? Right? Let me also hub you in 3 and 3, and then can I hub you? 3. Can I do 3 here and maybe 4 here? No, sorry. You. So can you do 3 here? 3. Is that all right? So draw closer to each other. Okay, so we're going to have some fun. Somebody say fun. Fun. All right, this is how it's going to work. I'm going to throw you just 5 quotes. I had 10, but I had to, for the sake of time, throw you 5. 5 quotes from leaders. Some of them are leaders, of world leaders, acknowledged world leaders. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out certain words from these leaders, and I'm going to have you fill the gap. Is that okay? Now, this is the important thing that I want you to understand, is that, hey, guys, it doesn't matter whether you get it right. We're not trying to get you to remember what they said. I'm trying to get you to think what it should be. Do you understand? So you should tell me what you believe should be what in the missing gap. And so each and every one of you, so don't waste time trying to correct one and say, no, I know the quote. This was what he said. It doesn't matter what the person said. All that matters is what you think. All right? And then we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready? Yes, sir. All right, Your Excellencies. Quote number 1. This quote is from Napoleon Bonaparte, the great general of the French army. All right? And Napoleon Bonaparte said, a leader is a dealer in dash. Now talk within yourselves and begin to just agree what it's possible, what can it be. Talk within, don't let anybody else hear you for now. Come on guys, talk. Remember that it doesn't matter what it is. I mean, it's not about getting it right or wrong. It's about getting 2, 3, 4 possible answers that it can be. Okay? So this is not about winning anything. It's just about, and we're not even doing it as fastest fingers or any of those things, all right? So remember, it's not one thing I want you guys to come up with. I want you guys to come up with a few things. But whatever you think that leaders should deal in. Are you ready? Can I move forward? Yes. Let's move forward because of time. All right? The co-founder of Disney World, Roy Disney, once said, when your dash are clear to you, making dash becomes easier. What should be in the gap? What should be clear to you? And what becomes easier when it is clear? Okay, remember, it's talking. You guys need to talk. This is about collaboration. This is about sharing ideas. Okay, can I move on? Come on, guys. Can I move on? Yes, sir. We have just 3 more to go. Are you ready? Yes, can I move on? Okay, Arnold Glasso said, a good leader takes a little more than his share of the dash and a little less than his share of the dash. What should good leaders take more of their share of? I'm sure somebody out there is probably thinking a little bit more of the share of the contracts. Are you ready? Can I move forward? No. Not yet? Okay? Okay, just for time's sake, all right? Because I don't want to take too much of your time. All right, let's go. George Washington Carver once said, Where there is no dash, there is no dash. Where there is no dash, there is no dash. Remember, it's not really what George Washington Carver said that we're trying to figure out. We're trying to think, what is it that takes away something when it doesn't exist? So where there is no, I was running these questions for the House of Tara leadership team, and the person who's in charge of inventory said, where there is no stock, there is no sale. And that's true, isn't it? Yeah? But what is it? All right, can I move on to the last one? All right. Ralph Nader, one of the Fortune 500 CEOs, once said, the function of leadership is produce more dash, not more dash. The function of leadership is to produce more dash, not more dash. I like that. All right. Are you guys ready?
Yes, sir.
Are you guys ready? Yes. Now remember that you are just trying to throw me the answers, and when you finally throw me the answer, then I'll show you what it was said. The only thing I want you to do, though, is that whilst your answers are brilliant, I can tell that in advance just looking at you guys. What I want, listen to this, guys. Are you listening? Yes, sir. What I want is that if you do if your answers fall in alignment with what the person said, then I want you guys to rejoice in a way, in a special way, all right? Is that all right? So I want you to shout. But because I know you are people of integrity, you're not going to shout if your answers were different. You know what I mean? All right? Are you ready? Okay, I can't hear you. Are you ready? Yes, sir. Okay, Your Excellencies. Your Excellencies. Some people, Your Excellencies are still discussing there. Okay. Are you ready? Yes. So, Napoleon Bonaparte said, a leader is a dealer in, tell me. Hope. What else? A dealer in service. A dealer in humanity. No, it can't be because it's only one word. A dealer in humanity. A dealer in service. A dealer in wisdom. A dealer in service. Anything? No, you can't. It has to be one thing. Okay, hope. Anything else? Service. A dealer in solutions. And you know that in a way you are all right, isn't it? Because all of the things you said, leaders should deal in. Leaders should be dealers in service. In fact, leadership is service. And wherever it is that the person who is supposed to be in the position or the role of leadership does not understand that service is what they are supposed to render, they would take the title or the power that comes with the title, and they would empower themselves and subdue the people to serve them. But what leaders should do is to serve the people and empower them. So I want you, Your Excellencies, to remember this. Power does not belong to the title. Power does not belong to the title. Authority is the, listen to this, the transient lending of power to you so that you can empower the people you are called to serve. I need you to remember that this is what I said to you. What authority bestows upon you is power. But when that power finds only one person, you become powerful. And I use that word very careful to say power, F-O-O-L. You become a fool with power. And we've seen this happen all through not only our country but many other places, where visionaries have become blinded to the plight of the people because they drank power onto themselves. Where great listeners became deaf to the cries of the people because they drank the poison called power. Power is a poison onto the people, onto one person, but it's an empowerment onto a lot of people. What you're supposed to do with authority is to take the authority and empower the people as you serve them. That's why the opposite of leadership is what? is rulership. The opposite of leadership is not followership, it's rulership. What do rulers do? Rulers subdue their subjects, empower themselves so that they suppress their people, they oppress them, and they depress them. They emasculate them. They impoverish them to remain in power. What do leaders do? Leaders serve. They do not emasculate, they empower. They emancipate. They do not impoverish, they improve. Leadership is the greatest gift that can happen to any nation and any people. Rulership is the worst thing that can happen to them. But permit me to also say that Africa has suffered greatly from the hands of rulers over many centuries. We had traditional rulers when we should have had royal fathers. Then we went from traditional rulers who subjected their people and said, your head must never be higher than mine, even if I'm sitting. And then we went to the point where we now had colonial rulers and colonial masters who never thought of us as people they came to serve. But because we were just a transaction, they thought of us as one mighty inventory or warehouse of raw material. I don't know what, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
They were never here to serve. And then we had a brief stint all across Africa of leaders that emerged. Kwame Nkrumah, Julius Nyerere, Mandela, there's, quite a few of them. But it was too short-lived before we had military rulers come back again and subdue the people. And then you know what happened, especially in Nigeria? The military rulers then took off their garb and became civilian rulers. And in fact, we even got to a point where there was a ruling party. Anybody remember? Yes. Everything produces according to its own kind. So a ruling party produces what? Does anybody understand what I'm saying? Nigeria, a little while ago, I was asked by a team of reporters. I was told that there was a general, a former head of state of Nigeria, who had said that in my generation, we did not have anyone that had the capacity to rule Nigeria. And the guys came to me and said, Fela Durotoye, have you heard that General this said, no one has the capacity in your generation to rule Nigeria. What do you say? And they quickly put on the lights to get me. And I said to them, I pray that he's right. That no one in my generation will have the capacity to rule again. For Nigeria has been ruled for more than 50 years and we have never ever fulfilled our potential. But whilst we do not have the capacity to rule, we are raising a generation. And it is here that have the capacity to lead. And those leaders are the dealers in service. And they will deal in hope. Why? Because hope is the emotion that is aroused every time the promise of a better tomorrow stands there. And every time a leader opens his mouth or her mouth, she should not speak about the current matters alone. Must be able to say, there is coming a time. And that time must create that audacity in the heart of the people. You understand what I'm saying? And I believe that you guys are not just the evidence of hope. You are the epitome of hope. My heart, I will sleep better tonight because of you guys. Just because I know that. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Let's see whether we can move faster. All right? Roy Disney said, when your dash are clear to you, making dash becomes easier. What are they? When your vision, what else? Decisions are clear to you, or no, which one? Let's do the first one. When your dash are clear to you. When your conscience is, okay? When your visions. Okay? Okay, making decision. Remember, if you get any of the two, you have to celebrate. Are you ready? But what Roy Disney actually said was,
objectives are clear to you.
When your objectives. Okay, well, what he said was, when your values are clear to you, making... right, let's talk about that for a few seconds. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
You know, your values are the operating system of your heart. Your values are the things that define what is right and what is wrong. To you, your values are the things that tell you what is good and what is bad. The things that are acceptable and unacceptable. Your values are the things that drive whatever the situation is, help you to decode it into a decision. So it doesn't matter the situation. What matters the most is the values that you hold in those situations. Because your values are supposed to be priceless. They are the things that are so valuable to you. And do you know what happens? Is that when we begin to hold the same values all across our nation and begin to have a value code, you would notice something that is going to happen. That the person from Niger State will hold the same values as the person from Imo State. And they will hold the same values as the person from Zamfara State. And they'll hold the same values as the person from Lagos State and all across Nigeria. And once we all hold the same values, it means we would all consider the same thing to be right and the same thing to be wrong. Which means when I decide not to do something that would have violated you, it is because it violates me first. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying. So what we need to do as a nation, if you're going to build a nation, you need to get a set of values that are ABCD, acceptable to all, regardless of religion, regardless of language, regardless of tribe. B, you need to get a set of values that are beneficial to all. That if I live by those values, I will be a better person. If I'm a student and I live by a set of values, I will be a better student. I'll have better results. That if a couple were to both hold those values there, they will have a happier home. You need to have a set of values that do that. But see, your values also have to be things you can communicate. So that a father can say to his son or his daughter, these are our family values. Which means that those values have to be framed in a way that they can be repeated. Don't forget that repetition enhances retention. So when I repeat something, it's easier for me to retain it. I can remember it better. You understand what I'm saying? But the last thing is that your values must be D. They must be demonstrable. They must be deep.
Yes.
Meaning they have to be things that we can demonstrate, we can act out. And there are 10 simple values that we have been able to craft that I'm praying that we would have the opportunity one day to drive into the heart of our nation. And I don't know if any of you have ever heard about it, but I'll run them very quickly by you. Number one, we must make a positive impact on everyone we meet and everywhere we go. Is there anybody from any state in Nigeria that thinks that this violates your tradition, your heritage, your predominant religious beliefs? Anybody? Is there everybody that thinks that if the people in your state all agreed to this, your state will be greater? To make a positive impact on everyone you meet and everywhere you go? Well, number two, we must be solution providers and not parts of the problem to be solved. And can you all imagine if every single person in your state, every resident, every person that comes from your state was a solution provider, not a part of the problem? C, or three, must be role models worthy of emulation. Can I just ask if you concur? Do you concur?
Yes, sir.
Number four, you must be your best in all you do, particularly the things you're naturally good at. Do you agree?
Yes.
You think it will help?
Yes.
Okay. Number five, you must do the right thing at all times, regardless of who is doing the wrong thing.
Yes, sir.
Anybody agree? Just say with me, I concur. Number six, you must value time and make the best use of it. You know, there's going to come a time when African time means exactly on time. When if two Europeans are speaking and they said, listen, I'd like to see you at 4 o'clock. And one of them says, do you mean 4 o'clock African time? And that one says, I mean it, 4 o'clock African time. It means I want you there exactly at 4. And it only is going to happen when we decide to make it happen. You know what I mean? Number 7, you must care and show respect to all through your words and your actions. You know, to care means to be concerned about the well-being of a person, a thing, or a place. What if people just cared? And you never heard a Nigerian say again, ever, I don't care. That would be... And respect is the ability to bestow honor on another. To make another feel special because they came in contact with you. Number 8, to consciously build a great legacy starting now, today, and every day. Understanding that your legacy is the memory and the name that you bequeath to the next generation and to anybody else that bears your name. That depending on the way you live your life, your name can either become a padlock or a key. If your name is a padlock, then everybody that bears your name or comes from your state or comes from your nation, doors of opportunity shut against that person. And there are people who may be out of this country have employed a Nigerian who may not have done well. And because of that, they will never employ another Nigerian. It doesn't matter who you are. They say, well, we had a bad experience. And there are sometimes when it's a great experience that they had, and they're thinking, if you are a Nigerian, he was so amazing, right? Therefore, just being a Nigerian, they will fast track your approval. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? So you want to consciously build a great legacy starting now, today, and every day. I believe that the best legacy you can leave to your children are not only in opportunities, but you must leave them a great name. And then the last thing is you must leave them a place where they can use that name to and leverage the opportunity to do great things. We cannot give the kind of nation today that we have inherited from our parents to our children. The Nigeria that we have inherited from our parents, and we love our parents, we're grateful to them. But you know what? I have decided, and I don't know if there's any of you here, that my children must live in a better nation than the one my parents gave me. Okay? So we must do that. The second to the last one is we must live a life, or our lives, as lives of integrity and honor. So live a life of integrity and honor. And you know, integrity is the alignment of your thoughts, your words, and your actions. So when you're a person of integrity, you say what you mean and you do what you say. So you can't be in the bathroom and still be saying, I'm on my way. You are not on your way. You're in the bathroom. You understand what I'm saying? People of integrity have no secrets. You know why? Because they will not collect what they have to deny that they collected. Neither will they give what they have to say that I did not give. They would not say to someone what it is that they don't want that person to say to another. So people of integrity are people without secrets. They live a very transparent life. But more importantly, can you imagine if somebody says, I will slap you, and then the person slaps you? Have they not kept their word? So it's not enough for you to say that you are keeping your word. You also have to make sure your word is honorable. So you must live a life of integrity and honor. And then the last thing is to make your family, your nation, and your God proud. And in a way, if you think about it, if you live the first 9 values, you will naturally live the last one. You understand what I'm saying? If you make a positive impact on everyone you meet and everywhere you go, if you are a solution provider and not a part of the problem to be solved, if you're a role model worthy of emulation, if you're your best in all you do, particularly the things you're naturally good at, if you do the right thing at all times regardless of who is doing the wrong thing, if you value time and make the best use of it, if you care and show respect to all through your words and your actions, if you consciously build a great legacy starting now, today, and every day, if you live a life of integrity and honor, naturally, from living those 9 lives in the way, you will make your family, your nation, and your God proud. Isn't it? Yes, sir. So we'll see whether by the end of this thing, in the next few minutes, whether we'll all be able to just make that pledge on behalf of our nation, or our states. Is that right? Yes, sir. Are you good? Now, when you have decisions, or when you have values that are clear to you, whatever the situation you are in, decisions become easier. So if I had the wrapper of whatever it is that I was was carrying, and I was tempted to drop it on the floor. If I had a value like make a positive impact everywhere I go, do you think I'll be able to drop that thing? Because it will not make a positive impact. If I had a value like be a solution provider and not a part of the problem that needs to be solved, obviously dropping that wrapper will create a problem for somebody else to solve. Therefore, I am unable to do so. That's why every time your own values are clear to you, it becomes a lot easier to make decisions. Do you understand where I'm coming from? So, Roy Disney, I think, made a really great point. When your values are clear to you, making decisions becomes easier. Arnold Glasso, let's see whether we can read. A good leader takes a little bit more than a share of the dash and a little less than a share of the dash. Blame, glory. A little bit more than a share of the blame and a little less than a share of the glory. Well, risk. Okay, a little more than a share of the risk and a little less than a share of the profits. Toil and glory. Well, what he actually said was a good leader takes a little more than his share of the blame and a little less than his share of the credit. Okay, but did you say blame? Okay, then rejoice. Now you are not rejoicing. All right. Okay, let's do this. Okay, we've got George Washington Carver, who then said, where there is no dash, there is no dash. What? Where there is no leader, there is no follower. Where there is no will, there is no way. Where there is no pain, there is no gain. Where there is no story, there is no glory. Where there is no vision, there is no direction.
Where there is no peace, there is no prosperity.
Where there is no peace, there is no prosperity. Very true.
Where there is no hope, there is no life.
Where there is no hope, there is no life.
Where there's no hope, there's
no leader, no direction.
No leader, no direction. Well, what George?
No vision.
No will, no future. Okay, well, what George Washington Carver said was, where there is no vision, there is no hope. Did anybody get any of it? Okay, no, I can't hear your celebration. That's why I don't know who got it. All right, so let's do the last one, and then we'll just begin to put this all together. Ralph Nader said the function of leadership is to produce more dash, not more dash.
More leaders and not more
managers.
More solutions, not more problems. No, more leaders, not more followers. Not leaders and followers. Okay, so the function of leadership is to produce more servants. Okay, great. All right. Okay, well, ladies, more possibilities, not more impossibilities. Well, ladies and gentlemen, your excellencies, what Ralph Nader actually said was the function of leadership is to produce more leaders, not more followers. But I want you to please put your hands together for such a gallant effort by everyone. All right. Okay. So before I take your questions, let me just say that there is a great challenge that is ahead of us. You know, it was Nelson Mandela that said something that was very special. And he said, I quote, sometimes it falls upon a generation to be great. And then he says, you can be that great generation, but you must let your greatness blossom. Is it okay for us to just talk about that for a second? Somebody say with me, sometimes. It falls upon a generation, to be great. Mine can be that great generation. We will let our greatness blossom. So just point at anybody you like in this room. Just say to them, sometimes it falls upon a generation to be great. Say to that person, ours must be that great generation. And we must let our greatness blossom. You know what Nelson Mandela was saying here was very interesting, because it then shows us that sometimes greatness chooses your generation, even if your generation did not choose to be great. And so the question that comes out is almost this question that says, what is a great generation? Isn't it? It's imperative. A great generation is any generation that runs its race and hands over an advantage to the next generation. Wow. Does this make sense? Yes. Indeed, any generation that does any less, that hands over a disadvantage to the next generation, is actually called a wasted generation. So that you see that every generation must run their race and hand over a baton of advantage to the next generation. So if a generation goes through free education and passes over exorbitant school fees to the next generation, that is a wasted generation. Any generation that grew up with constant power and passes over generators to the next generation is a wasted generation. A wasted generation is any generation that knocks out health from its hospitals, knocks out education from its schools, knocks out power from its light from its bulbs, and dries up water from its taps. Every generation that takes away safety from its roads and turns road safety into a commission rather than an experience. Every generation that knocks out values from its children and value from its currency is a wasted generation. Now, we are not here to bemoan any generation. We will not even attempt to judge our parents or anybody that has gone before us, because finger pointing only always comes back to you in the end. What we must focus on is a decision. Somebody say with me, decision. Decision. As to the fact that ours must not be a wasted generation. We must be the generation that restores, that transforms. We must be the generation that replaces what has been missing. We are not going to cry about we will fix education. We will fix healthcare. We must fix the capacity for our nation to be productive again. Nigeria should not even have enough Nigerians to build a new Nigeria. Because if we were to try to build a new Nigeria, we would use every skill that we have and still not have enough. Because we are a blessed nation. We are more than a nation that produces raw materials for the rest of the world. We can be that nation that produces finished goods. Not just for our own consumption, but for the rest of the world. Has anybody ever noticed that Nigeria is at the nexus of world trade? If you think to the left of where Nigeria is, you've got West Africa and the West African coast. To the right of where Nigeria is, you've got East Africa and the Central Africa Southern. But that's not really all. To the west of Africa, you've got North and South America. And then on top of Africa right there, you've got Europe. We can be the one that supplies to the whole world. Did you guys know that it takes a ship from Shanghai 51 days to be able to get from Shanghai all the way to London? But it takes only 19 days for that same ship to leave Apapa Port and arrive in London. Which means that it will take, listen to this guys, listen. A ship that leaves from Apapa to go and deliver goods to London will arrive in London, come back to Apapa and begin to make its way back before the ship from China gets there. And yet people are still buying from China when we can be the ones. Did you guys know that it takes 22 hours for a ship to leave Apapa to arrive in Ghana? And yet it takes 51 days for the ship to leave Shanghai and arrive in Ghana. So that tells you something. We can supply the cars that the West Africa will drive. Everything that can be made and consumed in Africa, we can be the ones. Because we are only 928,000 kilometers, square kilometers. China is 9.5 million square kilometers. Do you understand? Listen to this, guys. There is only one time zone in Nigeria. Everywhere, all across your states, we all have the same time. In China, there are 5 time zones, meaning that there are some places that are 5 hours ahead or behind of other places. Do you understand? Which means that if we were to be able to get infrastructure right, think about it. There is nowhere in each of your states that is too far, that is further than really 24 hours by rail. to the ports. Nigeria can be the largest manufacturing base for the world.
Sir.
It just takes you to remain focused as leaders, not as rulers. To remain more focused on empowering the people, not acquiring power to yourself. There is nothing that we cannot do. In the less than 10 years, just the last 10 years, China has built more than 20,000 miles of railroad. 2 weeks ago, China launched the fastest train in the world, traveling at 350 kilometers per hour. This is the same China that we used to look back and look down on as a nation several years ago. In one lifetime, in one generation, they've gone from an irrelevant nation to one of the greatest nations in the world. So can that happen for Nigeria?
Yes.
Will it happen for Nigeria?
Yes.
In whose generation will it happen?
My generation.
Why will it happen in your generation? Because you are the great generation.
Yes.
You are the great generation. You are the generation that will deliver a greater Nigeria to its children, not a worse Nigeria. But we have to be united. Without peace, there can be no prosperity, he said. And that is so true. Nigerians all across the world are blessed people. But especially in Nigeria, we deserve to prosper. We deserve to enjoy good success. But we must have peace. And we must be united. And the only way that I know that we can be united is by having a common vision and having a common value system. And so, I don't know whether you would agree with me, but I close my thoughts with you by this. To as many of you as would like to see Nigeria become a most desirable nation to live in, by December 31, 2025, can I see you rise to your feet? Do you see how united Nigeria is? Look at this. Do you see that Nigeria is united? Not one person has said, I don't want Nigeria to become the most desirable nation. And we are all from all the different states in Nigeria, including the Federal Capital Territory. To as many of you as think that Nigeria will be a truly great nation in your lifetime, let me see that hand up. And then to as many of you as want to bequeath a great nation, a greater nation than the one you inherited from your parents, put that hand somewhere around your chest. And then I would say, if you will agree with me, you will say it with me. I will make a positive impact on everyone I meet and everywhere I go. I will be a solution provider and not a part of the problem to be solved. I will be a role model worthy of emulation. I will be my best in all that I do, particularly the things I'm naturally good at. I will do the right thing at all times, regardless of who is doing the wrong thing. I will value time and make the best use of it. I will care and show respect to all through my words and my actions. I will consciously build a great legacy. Starting now, today, and every day. I will live a life of integrity and honor. And I will make my family, my nation, and my God proud. So help me God. So help me God. Your Excellencies, you are truly ambassadors of a great new Nigeria. You are ambassadors of a generation that is empowered, motivated, and stirred. And a generation that will operate with natural excellence. You, Your Excellencies, you are the ones that Nigeria's hope rests upon. And we will not fail Nigeria. We will not fail God. And we will not fail your children. So, Your Excellencies, may God bless you. May God bless each and every state that you have come from. And may God bless our Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you. Thank you. So.
Wow. Can somebody say wow?
Wow.
Wow. Have you been inspired?
Yes.
so much, sir.
Thank you.
We've been so inspired. We have some questions. Mela, please keep it simple.
Okay, so let me take a few more questions and then we'll take it. Well, thank you for your kind thoughts. Oh, you were going to ask also. Oh my God. Okay.
Listen to your line webinar last month. Talked us about smart goals. You said something about failure that really struck. So I want you to just define in your own words, what does it mean to fail? And when was the last time you failed? And what was the reaction? You talked about painting of Lagos. When you said, okay, the time was 1,000 houses or so, and painting effective. And people thought you succeeded. But you was a failure. So when was the last time you failed? And how was the reaction?
Oh, well, okay. Thank you.
Wow, I don't even know where to start from. I'm actually a follower of yours on Facebook and mentorship. And you send, once in a while, you send messages to my inbox. I have lots of things running in my head right now. I saw a video on Instagram. I think before I entered labor room, secondary students, definitely not in Nigeria. Their teacher was basically leading them through what just happened when you were going to close your speech. And you know, the students were so passionate what they were saying. She was not saying much of the words. She was saying some things that basically they were saying every other thing, you know. And in my mind I was thinking, okay, can we have our secondary school students doing this? Okay, I'm a legal practitioner, but I know one of these is I'm going to drop my wig down. I'm passionate about the family. You know, I worked with Kuleshurian for a while. I followed Shola, Asadis, and the rest of them. So I'm very passionate about family engineering. I'm passionate about, you know, grooming our family, not having divorces in courts. But I know, okay, fine, you've been grooming us, university students, you know, and all workers. But what about children? Most of them don't have mentors. Can we have a platform or something in which you'll be teaching these things in secondary schools? We are tired of doing just academic and our teacher comes and teaches us the same thing over. And can we have this so that these students will come and when they are talking, you know, some of these students are talking.
Okay, just before I take it, let me just quickly touch on two. I think I'll end with the question that you have asked. I'll come back to you, and then when we're done, then I'll answer your question. So let me quickly say to you that your dreams are already coming true. Just on the platform of the Gemstone Nation Builders Foundation, which I have the privilege of founding and being a part of, the 10 values that I just shared with you now have been endorsed by 313 schools in Nigeria. In those schools, we have volunteers that go there and train them on what we call a values leadership program, right? And the program is actually called Deliver the Future, yeah? And they train them, they train their teachers, they train their students, and then they train their parents through the PTA, or Parents Teachers Association platform. And it's very interesting that after they've trained their teachers and students, they then have what you call values ambassadors who will volunteer to be dedicate an hour a week to planning what value should be in the psyche of the students the next week. So if it was make a positive impact on everyone you meet and everywhere you go, they will now decide how to use dance, drama, music, poetry, or art to saturate the school atmosphere with different imagery, quotes, things that will get the students to make a positive impact on everyone they meet. And then the second thing that they do is that they actually do these things called values recital, which is really the most exciting part. So on Monday, they do the first two value codes. Make a positive. So the students coming, and in the first minutes that the teacher comes in and says, "Good morning, students." They say, "Good morning." They said, "What do we commit to do today?" He says, "I hereby commit to live a lifestyle of leadership and excellence, and to do all within my power to transform Nigeria into a next generation." And then they go and say, "To this end, I will make a positive impact on everyone I meet and everywhere I go. Be a solution provider and not a part of the problem to be solved. So help me God." Wow. And then they sit down. All that is done in 58 seconds. Awesome. Right? On Tuesday, they will say the same thing again. "I hereby commit to live a lifestyle of leadership and excellence and to do all within my power to transform my nation, my country into a most desirable nation." But they will now say, "To this end, I will," then they take the next two values, "be a role model worthy of emulation and be my best in all I do, particularly what I'm naturally good at." And by Friday, they would have finished the 10 values. So on Monday, they start again. And what we found out the teachers are saying to us is they are noticing that the students are doing better in school. They're noticing that they are having fewer fights. They are noticing that the students are just behaving so much better. Their parents are at home coming to the school and saying, "What's going on? My child is no longer, you don't have to ask him to lay his bed, he lays his bed. He washes his plates or she washes her plates, she sweeps." So, in fact, one of the ones that really was the most amazing was that a parent came to the school and said, "What are you people doing to my child?" He said, "I was trying to get the child to school early. And as I went on the pedestrian lane to beat the traffic that had built, my child screamed, 'No! Daddy, we must do the right thing at all times, regardless of who is doing the wrong thing.'" So now we are seeing a generation of children teach their parents because they now have the values. And so I hope you will sleep well tonight. What we need to do is to be able to scale that up. Yes. Imagine if we have the capacity to now say, get all schools to be able to do this. Oh my God, can you only imagine? Yeah, so there is good that is going to happen in this land. And all we need is for you guys to be able to empower your states with these things. Okay? So that's an important one. All right? The second question had been what? Definition of failure. I believe that, and I think that this must have been something like what I said.
Have you ever failed also?
Oh, I fail every day. I only said that it's important that failure is falling short of a desired outcome. Every time. But it does not become, you do not become a failure until you decide not to try again to achieve that desired outcome. So the only time you become a failure is when you take it that you do not have the capacity to rise again and attempt that which you failed at. That you failed does not make you a failure. That you failed means that you did not achieve the desired outcome. And I gave an example, right? A few years ago, I set out to do something that was considered completely insane. I was led to take on what was later to become the largest urban renewal project in Africa. And we decided to paint the houses on 7 streets of Mushin local government, which is a suburb in Lagos State, and paint all the bus stops on those 7 streets. And we ended up painting 3.5 kilometers of road made and between a place called Jibowu, some of you may know that, and Ilukweju. And we decided to do all that in one day, free of charge. Because Governor Fashola had just released an edict through Lagos State to say all the houses on the high streets of Lagos should be painted by January 10, 2010. So it was a problem. How were we going to solve it? If leadership is the capacity, listen to this, leadership is the capacity to create and deliver desired outcomes, desired solutions, then you don't need title to be a leader. So I challenged people and said, hey guys, let's go and paint Mushin. And my thought line was that we would be able to paint 420 houses on those 7 streets that had not been painted. But many of them said they didn't want us to paint them because they thought that we were coming on behalf of Lagos State and that we will paint and then Lagos State will charge them. So there was rumor going around that Fashola had sent some people who are going to come. They will tell you that they are painting, but when they finish painting, they're going to charge you. So many of the people, they didn't give us permission to paint their houses and they didn't pick any colors. But 295 houses house owners gave us permission to paint their houses. What was my goal? 420. How many did we do? 296. Actually, we did 296 because on the day we were painting, one lady was crying and saying, they lied to me that you people are going to collect money. Please paint my house. So we painted the house even though it was not part of the initial plan. And we painted free of charge. We were planning to get out 5,000 people who will come and paint. Only 2,000 people came. So we painted 296 houses by 2,000 people who brought their paint, brought their brushes, and all of that. Do you think that we failed? This was the point I was making. That you need to set a vision so great that even when you fail to achieve it, what you have achieved is great enough to be celebrated. So even though we failed at painting 420 houses and getting 5,000 people to come, the 2,000 people that came and painted 296 houses still made it the largest urban renewal project. So my point is, why bother to dream small? Because you are going to still fail anyway. Why are you afraid of failing? Fail well because you dreamed great. So great that the little success you achieved was great success. And this is what I want for each of you. I want you to dream great for your states. I want you to dream great for this nation. Nigeria will be the most desirable, not a most desirable, the most desirable nation to live in. And what if we fail? We will be a most desirable nation. Because it will still be a great country, even if we couldn't achieve our goal. So please help me whisper to someone, fail forward.
Fail forward.
Meaning, look, set a great goal that is so worthy of pursuit that even if you failed, you will still have achieved great success. You understand what I'm saying? Please, I beg you. There is a Yoruba adage that says, "Bunyo en kekere." No, please, don't bunyo en kekere. No, meaning, don't, they will say, take just a little bit of pounded yam. Just take a little bit so that you can deal with it. No, dream big. Dream big. So that if you fail, even the little that you achieved will be great. Okay? Let me take the last questions and then I will. I fail every day.
Gender equality.
I was going to have a meeting today that was supposed to start at 2 o'clock. But my flight didn't come in on time. And I arrived at that meeting at 5 minutes past 2. And I had to apologize. The people couldn't understand. It was okay. No, it's not okay with me. If I say I'll be there at 2 o'clock, I intend to be there at 2 o'clock. If I arrived at 5 minutes past 2, I have failed. That is my value. Remember, value time and make the best use of it. Remember? I failed. I failed. So, but I arrived at 2 o'clock and still had a great meeting. So I fail every day. But I set such great goals that my failures pale into oblivion. Yes, ma'am.
One after the other. Okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
It will interest you to know that we had a task last week, and the question was, Nigeria can never be a human-friendly nation in the next 10 years. And it's so ironical that almost all the groups said it can never be. And your vision 2025 is just 8 years away, and everybody is accepting it. What happened?
Right? Yeah. Again, think about it this way. It is at the heart of culture is values. And once you can say, and look at it, each and every one of you from different states all accepted those values because they were acceptable to your personal biases. They were beneficial to everyone. If anyone lives by these values, will they be people you want to hire or not? Will they be people you want to do business with? Would they be people you would like to meet on the road? Yes. Would they be people you would like to live with in an estate? You understand what I'm trying to say? The challenge is that, listen, nature abhors vacuum. And it's not that we don't have values in our constitution, but those values have not been articulated into livable codes, a livable statement. Okay? So when you do that, when you take the values, and they're beautiful values in our constitution, but when you now turn them into statements that people can live by, it's easier for them to say, yes, I will, or no, I wouldn't. And so I believe that Nigerians are not just, listen, honestly, it is impossible for us to build a new Nigeria that will be the most desirable nation to live with, except we build new Nigerians that are the most desirable people to live with. It is impossible for you to build a new Nigeria that will be the most desirable nation to work in until you build new Nigerians that are the most desirable people to work with. Yes. You understand what I'm saying? So the real work that has to happen is a people work. You see, country is land marked by borders and boundaries, but nation is people. And many countries are not nations. Our job is to leave now our country and become a great nation. Anybody remember that the father of faith for most, yes, for Muslims and Christians is who? Abraham. And God said to him, Abraham, leave now your country and go to the place that I will show you, which means it's a different mind frame, a different place. And he says, and I will make you in that place a great nation. So God wanted man to go from country to nation. You understand? And Nigeria will be undoubtedly the most desirable nation to live in. That's what we want to be. You understand what I'm saying?
Sir, you mentioned language earlier, and I discovered there's a problem with the language system in the educational sector. I remember studying, growing up in the West, and I schooled at Ogun State. We were taught Yoruba language and Igbo language, but we were banned from speaking those languages. So it didn't really help us to learn the languages. How can this be solved in the institutions?
Well, you're right. I mean, practice makes perfect. No one learns a language simply by hearing it being taught. You learn languages by speaking them. And what you're going to do is to find useful ways to ensure that the four major languages of Nigeria, which include Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo, and English, proper English. And why did I say English? Because English is our official language. Not Pidgin English, proper English. Our constitution is not written in Pidgin English. Our anthem is not sung in Pidgin English. Our pledge is not recited in Pidgin English. So whilst Pidgin English is a means of communication, our proper mode of communication should be proper English. Now, please remember that also all our examinations are set in proper English. Chemistry is examined in proper English. Physics is examined in proper English. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So whenever you find a people who cannot speak the language that the examination is in, they're already doomed to fail. If you asked me any examination or set an examination for me in French or in German, I